All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a piece of folklore that is, honestly, just absolutely terrifying. It's a chilling sequence of events that kicks off when a village's desperate thirst for rain completely twists into a horrifying demand for human blood. We're going to explore exactly how superstition, fear, and dark ancient history can drive completely ordinary people to commit the unthinkable.
Just listen to this chilling quote from Gayatri. She's a village elder sitting in a dark, lantern-lit hut poring over ancient scriptures. She warns, this is not ordinary rain. It is the Yakshini's blessing. But she gives nothing for free. We must give 9 virgin boys. Outside her hut, heavy torrential rain is flooding the village, filling up wells that have literally been dry for years. But as you can probably guess, this isn't just some weird weather event. It's a transactional blessing from a very dark entity, and the price is impossibly high. Part 1. The Curse of Bloody Rain. So at the dead center of all this panic is the Yakshini. According to these deep-rooted beliefs, there's a cave behind the mountains that essentially acts as a doorway for this ravenous, supernatural force. And whenever a severe drought breaks with those dark, thundering clouds, well, the village believes she wakes up. Basically, her hunger has to be fed, or they're terrified that the very rain they've been praying for will just swell up and swallow their entire settlement whole. It's a classic, terrifying double-edged sword. Part 2. The final prey, Arjun. You know, the horrifying momentum here is already in full swing. This bloody pact was supposedly born centuries ago, but the actual terror, that's incredibly recent. We're talking just days ago, 8 innocent boys were snatched from their homes and locked away in that mountain cave. And that brings us right to tonight. Tonight is the ultimate deadline for the 9th and final boy, Arjun, who is currently sitting on a cot, weeping in absolute terror. This crisis sparks a really brutal clash between religious duty and basic human empathy. You got elders like Gayatri and Gita violently breaking down Arjun's door. They're completely devoid of any maternal instinct here, actually viewing his murder as a righteous act to save the village. And then standing in their way is Meena, who's desperately pleading against the horrific sin of killing a neighbor. But as is so often the case in these stories, blind faith wins out. Meena gets shoved aside as the fanaticism just completely takes over. Part 3. The Yakshini's terrifying cave. Their descent into this ancient, vine-covered tunnel is marked by pure dread. I mean, it hits them immediately at the entrance, this vile, rotting smell radiating right out of the darkness. It's literally the scent of the Yakshini's breath. They have to navigate this freezing, incredibly narrow path by torchlight, and where do they end up? A horrifying stone sacrificial altar, completely surrounded by a macabre circle of 8 skeletons, just chilling. And the clock is totally running out. Forced onto the stone slab, an exhausted Arjun is begging for his life. Thunder is roaring outside like this grim drum roll. And Gayatri, who is just completely consumed by her fanatical belief at this point, raises her heavy cleaver. She's chanting dark mantras, literally offering the boy to the darkness. Part 4. The real truth of scriptures. But Meena refuses to give up. She actually rushes into the cavern wielding a massive stone, trying to stop the sacrifice, but she's easily overpowered and thrown aside. Her nose is bleeding, the tension is absolutely through the roof. But wait, in the middle of this violent scuffle, Gayatri's sacred bundle of ancient scriptures crashes to the stone floor. As the blade hovers mere inches from Arjun's neck, Meena's eyes lock onto the text. She desperately screams for Gayatri to stop, because she's realized a fatal error. Gayatri never actually read the very last page of the ancient book. Talk about a twist that flips the whole script. For generations, the myth was that the Yakshini demanded the sacrifice of 9 innocent boys to stop the drought. But Meena screams out the actual truth. The Yakshini doesn't cause the drought. She is the very embodiment of water itself. The rain isn't some blessing you can buy, it's a trap. And she doesn't want the blood of innocents. She demands the blood of murderers. Part 5. The horrifying game of death. The environment reacts immediately to the spoken truth. The very rainwater seeping through the cavern's ceiling and pooling on the floor, it instantly thickens, turning into this dark red blood, as the ground just begins to violently shake. The supernatural trap has officially been sprung. What follows is immediate, absolutely terrifying karmic retribution. Gayatri drops her cleaver in utter shock. She watches, in real time, as her own flesh literally begins to rot, dry up, and turn to ash. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the curse has targeted her, the true murderer. And then the climax hits its absolute peak. That ancient stone altar splits wide open. From the depths of the rock, the horrifying red-eyed form of the Yakshini physically emerges into the cave, fully awoken to claim the guilty. Talk about instant justice, right? Gita sprints toward the exit in absolute terror, only for a deep crevice to open up in the floor, violently dragging her down into the darkness. Meanwhile, Gayatri, who is now halfway turned to ash, realizes the horrific irony of her blind zealotry. She just mutters, "She chose us, not the boys," and willingly walks right into the abyssal crack. It completely wipes out the fanatics who actually thought they were acting righteously. Part 6, 30 years later. So Meena and Arjun manage to sprint for their lives as the cave collapses right behind them. Instantly, the terrifying rain just abruptly stops, but a new dread kind of washes over them. You see, according to the ancient rules, if an accepted sacrifice has been made, the village should never ever see a drought again. Yet, for 3 decades, this unnatural, tense silence falls over the village, until, exactly 30 years later, the dark clouds gather and the torrential rain returns. Which leaves us with a huge question. If the rain has returned after 30 years, it means the curse is still alive, it's still hungry, and the rules of the game might still be hidden in the shadows. This folklore masterfully uses terror to show us the ultimate dangers of blind fanaticism and groupthink. But within the world of the story itself, it leaves us asking, what new horrific secret or hidden guilt has awakened the Yakshini this time? Who on earth is the next prey? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and remember, always keep questioning this story as you're told.